Yeah, it's about the bag with the triple single crew. We got Ronnie, Doc, Antonio, the real deal too. They coming and dropping knowledge, you know that they get to work. You know that triple single cover Bay Area sports. You know I'm coming hard, I don't feel like I'm in a hurry. Like number 30, I really got the range like Stephen Curry. Get a couple rings, you know.
How's it going, everybody? This is the Triple Single Crew. We're back at TSC Bay Area. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, and leave some comments below because we want to make sure we hear what you guys have to say. And maybe one of the topics you guys mentioned or something you mentioned could show up in the show. So let us know how you feel and let us know on social media as well. Like the channel. All right, boys, this is going to be a really loaded question. Probably the most loaded question you've been hearing in Bay Area sports the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 months at least. So I'm going to kick it off with you, Ronnie. If it's not Jimmy G in week 1, who would be the starter for the 49ers next year?
If it's not Jimmy G, then I believe it was the number 12 overall pick that San Francisco has in the draft.
Okay. Yep.
Draft,
you got it.
Draft the quarterback, Trey Lance or Justin Fields.
Oh,
if I were deciding on who I'd rather have, it's a shocker, but I go with Justin Fields, to be honest. Just what he showed, with his time at Ohio State. His first year throwing for 41 touchdowns and 3 picks and leading his team to the college football playoff, eventually losing to Clemson. And then the following year, with this COVID season, leading his team to a 13-1 record, losing in the national championship game.
Yeah.
But I believe what definitely raised his stock up was that game against Clemson where he threw for 6 touchdowns. I just believe, after that big hit that he took against that, I believe it was a safety, that big hit that, got that guy ejected, and the fact that he came back into the game and beat Clemson, just showed you that he has toughness. He's a tough kid that, he's made for this. He can play in this league. So I believe that Justin Fields would be the guy to go, because if you draft a quarterback automatically with a healthy team into a Super Bowl contending team, and I believe, he's a rookie, or he will be a rookie. The guys that have been through it all will tell him what it's like, show him what it's like. So he'll be with the contending team. So I go with Justin Fields if he's available at that number 12.
Damn. All right. What do you think, Doc?
Oh man, let me let you go first, real deal, because my take, I've even timed it. It's about 3 minutes long, so let me let you go first, brother.
All right. Well, that's an interesting one, and I do think. Now, I'm probably one of the few people that thinks Fields will fall. I don't think there's going to be 3 or 4 quarterbacks taken in the top 10. I think there's going to be 2 for sure, and it's going to be Lawrence, and it's going to be Zach Wilson. After that, I don't know if Trey Lance might be the other one that somebody like the Carolina Panthers takes a chance on, because they like to take chances on really dynamic, really fast, multi-dimensional type of players, and he would fit that, right? So they already have McCaffrey there. They have a good receiving core, a decent defense, so they'll compete, but they're missing that QB. Right. It just Teddy Bridgewater just didn't do enough for him. So I could see that in there, I believe, at 8. So I could see Trey Lance going at 8. But I agree. I think Fields, I don't see Fields going to Atlanta. I don't know. Everyone keeps thinking that those 4 are going to go in the top 10. Very rarely do 4 quarterbacks go in the top 10.
Yeah, that would be wild. That would be wild.
And so I don't get why the mocks are like, well, he won't even be there at 12 or he won't be there at 15. I'm like, no, he probably will be, if recent history is any indication, right? So I think Fields would be interesting, really interesting. The one thing, and I haven't studied him, I studied him some, but not enough, is how he does under pressure, how he does when things break down. Because the one thing I keep hearing is that he's really good when everything works, right? When everything's blocked up right, when everybody runs the right route, all that, then he can be really dynamic. And I think he is dynamic. He's very good. I've seen him make every type of throw to every level, right? Short, intermediate, deep throws. So I have no doubt that he has the talent to do it. And if Kyle gets his hands on him in our offense, he could be really good, but you got to protect him. So he might be another. I don't know if there's a guy after Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence that you can say, I'm going to put that guy in week 1. I could be wrong. It could be a Justin Herbert situation.
Yeah.
But it seems like Lance is a project for sure. I would want him to sit behind somebody and then grow into the position. Then he could be good. And same with Fields. I think if Fields sits behind a veteran or some kind of bridge, even for, a year or little less than a year, I think it would help him a lot. So I don't know if the Niners would do that. For me, my take is super unpopular. I see talent in different places. Like I look at just improving talent. To me, Jimmy G is a decent player when he's healthy. The problem is he's only been healthy about 45% of the time in his career. So even if you're a Jimmy G fan and you believe he's going to be healthy to start the season, there's a 50-50 chance that he's going to get hurt, right? There's always a chance guys are going to get hurt, but specifically with him. So I don't want the season to be a coin flip like that. But to be honest with you, if this keeps dragging on the way it is, and John Lynch's comments yesterday were true, he's not going to overpay for a quarterback on draft day. It'll have to be before the draft. So if maybe somebody comes at him with an offer for, I don't know, Darnold, for example, which I know a lot of fans go nuts when I say that, or when I've spoken to them in different forums, but that's a person who he's a player who's more talented to me than Jimmy as far as what he can do. He's 23. He'd be way cheaper. So it would be a guy, but I agree that you could, in that situation, you'd have to have another quarterback there too. So then you'd have to have another vet, right? So it gets complicated. What I think will happen is I think Jimmy G will be the starter in week 1, but they're going to draft somebody in the 4th or 5th, maybe a Kellen Mond or somebody else. And that guy could potentially take over. I don't want to see that happen, but I could see that happen because of that injury history. But the fact that the Niners are just they're in wait and see mode. And I got to say, it's getting scarier by the day.
Yeah. So if I'm hearing you correctly, Real Deal, does your take mean that you don't think there's an opportunity for the red and gold to pursue a Zach Wilson? Just because I know that over the last few months, you and I have talked, at lengths about Zach Wilson. I know you're a huge Zach Wilson fan, knowing that Trevor Lawrence is going first. Like Trevor Lawrence, he's not there's no opportunity for us to get him. And so are you feeling like there's no chance for us to get Zach Wilson?
I don't want to say there's no chance, but if we're being really, if we're just trying to not put anything out there, we're doing a great job of it, right? That if he's the guy we want. So if we're being really quiet as far as, Kyle and John are putting everybody off the scent and saying, oh yeah, it's going to be Jimmy G. We expect it to be Jimmy G, but really in the background, they're working on moving up to 2 to get Zach. Unless they know they have, again, some more inside info from Robert Saleh and his team with Joe Douglas, that they're going to try to stick it out with Darnold and build around him, which a lot of people don't see. They see Zach Wilson at number 2. And I don't know if I would gamble with, even though he's a friend, I don't know if I would say, oh, okay, yeah, I believe that you're not going to take Zach Wilson. I'd feel a lot better trading up, but I just think Kyle would have to love him. I don't know if he does. We don't know.
Real Deal, do you love Zach Wilson?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I would do it. I mean, I would probably, I'd send the next few first-round picks, maybe 2 first-rounders, 2 seconds, and a 4th to get up to 2. And from looking at other drafts, I've actually looked to see, historically, would that be enough? 2 number 1s, 2 number 2s, and a 4 could be enough to go from 12 to the top 5. So I would do it if I really love the guy. In my case, and I do, I like this guy. I think he's going to be really good. But if he goes to the Jets, we'll see. They're rebuilding, so.
Yeah. Good take, fellas. Good take. I think all around, I'm in huge agreement with all of you all. I said I wanted to save my take for a little later on, just because I know it's pretty lengthy. But bear with me. Here's just what my thoughts are around the QB situation there in San Francisco. And so let me start off by saying that I have a strong feeling that Jimmy G is going to continue to be the quarterback for the red and gold. This is something that I'm not necessarily happy about either, but just seeing some of the constant comments by John Lynch, as you mentioned, Real Deal, Kyle Shanahan, saying that they're committed to Jimmy G and that he's the quarterback. is just starting to make me really feel like that's the direction they're going to go in. As I mentioned in the last San Francisco video that we made, I'm a huge advocate for them going all in on Deshaun Watson. But if they do decide to continue with Jimmy G, my only other hope is that they do try to draft a young quarterback with the number 12 pick, or maybe trade up, as you mentioned as well, Real Deal being an option, and draft a young quarterback that they can groom while Jimmy G is still under center. This would be similar to the way the Chiefs did when Alex Smith was the quarterback there and they drafted Patrick Mahomes. The two young quarterbacks that I feel that we would realistically have a chance to draft, and I would be very excited about, are Ohio State Justin Fields and North Dakota State Trey Lance, which I know Ronnie mentioned. So great take, Ronnie. Now I'm just going to give my breakdown on those two players. What I like about Justin Field is that he offers great mobility, which we have seen is now needed in today's NFL, where these defensive ends and defensive tackles, they're fast, man. These linebackers are fast. They get sideline to sideline. And so if you don't have a quarterback that's mobile, that can create outside of the pocket, it just really decreases the chances of just, impact plays from that position that I think is now needed. In addition to him being mobile, he displayed amazing accuracy all season at Ohio State this past year. I believe his completion percentage was 70.2%, and we know how important accuracy is in Kyle's system. And so I think this would really benefit him if he did come to SF. And I also love how tough of a player he is, as Ronnie mentioned. That huge hit he took in the college playoffs, I don't know too many other college quarterbacks that would have stayed in the game, because they had the lead too, and he had already been dealing with a lot of injury issues throughout the year. But for him to stay in, throw 6 touchdowns, like Ronnie said, and lead his team to victory against Clemson and the number 1 projected pick quarterback Trevor Lawrence, that raised the stock to another level, in my opinion. Even though they then lost to the juggernaut Alabama in the championship game, I don't think that really was tough on him. They were loaded at all positions. Yeah. And Mac Jones is also a potential first-round pick to some team maybe. So, right.
Patriots are going to take him. I'm telling you, I'm convinced they're going to take him.
Yeah, I know you've been telling me that for months now. You've been telling me that they see him very similar to what Tom Brady brought. Maybe not so mobile, but just really great in the pocket. And, Patriots always find a really great way to build an offensive line for the quarterback that they really believe in. I don't think they really believed in Cam. I think that was an experiment that they had. So I think they're really going to go all in once they get their next quarterback, which I'm hoping is Jimmy G. But if it's not, that means we probably kept them. But another thing that I really just want to mention is, I know a lot of people will say that Ohio State does not produce quality quarterbacks, but I think every young quarterback deserves to be fairly evaluated regardless of what university they played for. Right. They deserve to be judged off of their abilities and football IQ, both, which I believe Justin Fields will grade high in. Justin Fields reminds me of a better Teddy Bridgewater before Teddy Bridgewater suffered some of his major injuries. That's just who kind of comes to mind to me, because I felt Teddy was really accurate with the ball. Before his injuries, he was a lot more mobile. I'd say Justin probably has a little bit of a better arm, at least from what I've seen in college. But that's a comp that stood out to me as I was kind of just thinking about, who does Justin Field remind me of? And so I think he could be really great in Kyle's system, because again, the accuracy, the mobility, which would be really helpful in those play action plays, which we all know Kyle loves. And he would just be another threat for those RPOs, right? Run, pass, right? He'd actually be able to run. That doesn't work with Jimmy G anymore. My second evaluation is on Trey Lance. And Trey Lance, although he played 1 collegiate season, he also offers great mobility, and that guy has a cannon of an arm. He's the type of, and he's just a power runner. He's the type of guy that will run over a smaller defensive back in the open field, and he can throw a 50-yard pass on a rope if he has a receiver on a go route. The knock on Trey Lance will be that he did not play the best of competition, but what I will say is that he dominated this competition in throwing 28 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. That's just mind-blowing. Interestingly enough, though, the 1 game he played this season, I think he threw 2 interceptions, or he at least threw 1. So that's pretty funny that he went a whole season without doing it, and then he did it in the one game showcase, as they called it. And the last thing I'll say is that he actually reminds me a lot of a young Josh Allen, who has a ton of potential. Josh Allen also played in a smaller school too, and a lot of people, the knock on him was the competition. But I believe they have a lot of similar attributes, and I genuinely believe that if Trey Lance is also groomed behind a quarterback, right, gets that time to learn and just really pick up the game, that he could be one of the top quarterbacks in the league in the next 2 to 3 years. And you'd have him on a rookie contract. You know what I mean? And that's just another thing that's huge, because then you can use that money to build around that rookie quarterback, a la the Chiefs, who have paid so much money to all these other players because they've had Mahomes on that rookie contract for the last few years. And so that's my take there, y'all.
Yeah, I know. I know you guys are probably hoping for, no, somebody else other than Jimmy G, for the ones that are not Jimmy G fans. But it just keeps looking more and more like that's how it's gonna go. And again, if Jimmy plays, if Jimmy can stay healthy, we know he'll be solid enough. But to be able to make that kind of commitment when you are a roster like ours, I personally wouldn't do it. I don't believe in gambling like that. When someone's had a history of doing something like over and over again, as far as their health. But I agree with you guys. I think those are some good calls. And I would like to see those guys sitting behind somebody or learning behind some kind of vet, in terms of Fields and Lance, because I do think they can be really good, but they got to be protected by the right coach, the right scheme. They got to be protected a little bit because of they have some raw talent, but they need to be groomed up a little bit, as most of them do. Like I said, Lawrence and Wilson, even Wilson has issues with his game that people have pointed out. But I think there's the positives are so overwhelming, that to me, those are the only two that are ready to step in, kind of like Andrew Luck. And I probably would say maybe like a Drew Brees in terms of that's not a good comp for Zach Wilson, but I mean, guy that is looked at kind of smaller, kind of smaller, but you can just see super accurate, super smart, knows where to go with the ball. So
he reminds me of a slightly less fast Russell Wilson. Actually, I think he gives me a lot of Russell Wilson vibes. Not as fast as Russell Wilson, maybe not even as athletic, but he's not far off.
Right,
not far off at all.
Yeah, think about that. A poor man's Russell Wilson.
Yeah. Not all that poor. Russell Wilson.
And not all that poor.
Not all that poor.
I don't think he doesn't have Russell's arm strength. I mean, Russell's deep ball, even at Wisconsin, was like ridiculous.
That baseball player in him, man.
Exactly. Well, I mean, but Zach's also a baseball player, I believe, because that's why he does that little sidearm, because he's an infielder, I think. So he knows how to turn the double play. But with that, I think we're gonna call it for now. This was a great conversation, and hopefully we're gonna have many more before draft day. So thank you guys, and make sure that you leave a comment, many comments, and let us know what you think of the content. Also on our social media, again, at TSC Bay Area on Instagram, Twitter, and we'll see you again next time.
Yeah, shout out right quick to one of our followers, Woody. We were actually talking to him yesterday, me and Ronnie, and he was just giving us his breakdowns and thoughts of just our videos and how much he's enjoying them. So just want to give a quick shout out to Woody, as we had that really cool moment yesterday where he was telling us he's watched every single video so far, and that was really cool. So shout out to everybody else that's following us and supporting us on this grind of trying to really create and build up this podcast. Just know you are greatly appreciated, and we hope you can continue to enjoy this content. But all right, y'all, signing out.
Peace.
Take care.
Yeah, it's by the bag with the triple single crew. We got Ronnie, Doc, Antonio, the real deal too. They coming and dropping knowledge,